said, so long, carry on, 'cause the devil wants to take me for a ride.
That's great.
They might pick it up a little bit.
I asked him if it was a massage parlor.
Dude, you know what? This does. We recording?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's fine. The sound, if anyone hears anything, there's some sound coming from upstairs. The sound does. I went to a massage parlor brothel in Puerto Rico some years back, and I remember going in there, and it's called Angel Hands. I'm not sure if it's still there. You guys can look it up. Great. There are reviews online, and you go in, and like the madam comes out, and she brought 3 girls with her, and I'm drunk. I'm still drinking at this point. And I'm like, I want the madam. I'm pointing at her. And she's like, no. And like, I don't speak Spanish. They don't speak English.
It's like wanting the ump.
Yeah, I wanted, but I was like, but she was also wearing, they were all wearing like corsets. And I'm like, I want you. And she goes, no. She's the madam. And finally I just got, this girl's the fattest ass. I pick her. You go in, and there's like, the ceilings are open.
Yeah.
So like the walls go up, there's like a 1-foot crack, so you can hear everything going on. You can hear all the sounds and just fucking.
It really puts it into perspective, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really adds an extra element to this of you are not alone. And you know what? At first it was a little intimidating, and then I go, I'm not the only piece of shit in the world. Right? I'm not even remotely. This place is full right now. Okay.
Yeah, you're not even a piece of shit. It's really odd if you think about it. It's illegal to pay to have an orgasm.
Yeah,
that's how if you break it down to its most basic element, like that's what it is. And then you're like, okay, well, justify that. Like, why is that illegal? That's the weirdest thing to like be. You know what I mean? To barter for. I don't know. It should be legal. I think it'll be the next thing.
I can't pay.
It's got weed.
Yeah.
Then it'll be psychedelics, and then it'll be sex work. In that order.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It definitely is. Because weed, I think the Fed just decriminalized it. I saw some people.
The federal?
Yeah.
On the federal level? I feel like I would have known
so
that.
people kept. You know when people share your stuff on social media and you like it, but you don't actually read it because you're like, dude, I just got.
That's all I do is read headlines and form opinions.
I got so many things, and I just saw the thing, and someone sent it me on Instagram, and it said the federal government says that they're going to decriminalize marijuana next year.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. Obviously, I didn't look into it.
Yeah.
And so it's the states that have legalized weed. Some of them are legalizing mushrooms.
Yep.
Right? I remember you putting up like a tweet or something on Facebook where you said that I think by law everyone should have to do 1 trip a year.
Did I say that?
Yeah, it was a long time ago, but it always stuck with me because I was just getting into psychedelics at that time.
Yeah.
As I was like fading out of my drinking and finding a drug that I felt was good for me, if I could say that.
Yeah.
Opening my mind as opposed to closing it. And I was like, this is a cool idea.
So
obviously, it wouldn't work.
Did you do psychedelics to stop drinking? Like to aid to aid in like sort of self-empowerment?
I had done mushrooms like when I was in college, and I had done them for a while, and they were fun. Yeah. I enjoyed them. I liked them. But what happened is that as I was getting off of booze, I was in therapy, and my therapist kept alluding to it. He kept pointing to the fact
Who's your
that
therapist, dude.
What's up?
You should hook me up with your therapist.
I can send you to him.
He was like hinting that you should trip out.
No, not trip out. That I should quit alcohol and break up with my girlfable.
Okay,
he was
misunderstood you.
No, he actually didn't. When I talked about hallucinogens, he kept saying, you should be able to do this sober. And I go, yeah, but I need some help. Okay, I need a leg up.
They take what's the word? They don't like being the solution. They don't like not being the solution. The therapists.
Yes, you're right.
If
you're
you bring
right.
another like suggestion to them that's not like through them, like it's like any other relationship. Like if it's their idea, it's great. So you have to somehow make it their idea.
Yes, they're like jealous girlfriends. Whenever I would find help from an outside source or on my own, he would kind of negate it and go, "Oh, you got to do it my way."
Yeah, exactly.
Every fucking time. Oh, you know what? Also, I came up with some really good lines on my own, and I could see he would jot them down, and I go, "You're gonna fucking use that." Because one of mine was horizon chasing. I was, because he was like, he goes,
I'm gonna write that down.
Based on how you look and how you sound, he was very adamant. I'm more impressed about your concept of the metaphysical and your sense of self. I was like, oh, thanks. And I go, yeah, I know I'm dealing with this problem of horizon chasing. And he goes, what's that? And I go, well, it's me never being happy with what I have, never being able to fill the hole inside of me. I'm just looking at the horizon. I go, that place over there is great. Look at the sun over there. I get there, and there's a new horizon. And there's always another horizon for me to get to. And he's like, I watched him go, oh, that's good. And he wrote it down.
Yeah.
I go, you fucking prick. I know you're going to take credit for that.
Yeah. You're going to go to the bookstore or like, you know.
It's going to be his new novel.
Yeah. It's his stupid face.
You know what's funny? I hated his face when I first met him. Because he was this older gay dude, and he had a curly steampunk mustache that came over here and hooked up.
Oh, wow,
and so it would made it really tough for me to take his advice when I first met him. His advice was good stuff.
You couldn't, because his style choice was so, like, you know what I mean? It was like bold.
Yeah, it was also, I was ascribing to him qualities of people I didn't like.
Okay, interesting.
So I was, instead of just, eventually what I got to was knowledge is knowledge. So if you get knowledge, you should take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Regardless of the source.
Yeah, it's like, I remember when I was early in recovery, like in active recovery, I had a sponsor who I found out some shit. I found out he was like a real human being and had done some real shit that, you know, I didn't really feel comfortable. I didn't know. Like it conflicted with how I had like put him on a pedestal, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided ultimately, if you're like reaching out for help, it doesn't really matter who's helping you.
No,
you know,
it doesn't.
It could be like a serial killer.
It really,
you know?
it could be Jeffrey Dahmer.
Imagine like hanging on by like your dear life and being like, just one question, like before you like save me, like, did you vote for Trump? You know? No, you wouldn't like ask. You would just like take the help. So help is help. Like you said, knowledge is knowledge.
That's all it is.
It's no matter, like it's like spokes on a wheel. There's so many ways to get to that center.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why not take as many paths to the same center as you can, I guess.
Absolutely.
I think that strengthens, that makes a, I don't know, it makes a wheel strong.
No, it does. It does. That's the next book, Make the Wheel Strong. So I'm here with Steve Halligan. Steve,
hello.
Old friend, great comic, musician. When did, and you were in the band Human Beings, right?
Humans Being.
Excuse me.
Which was meant to be like a question.
Yeah.
Humans being what exactly?
Did you have the question mark on the end of it?
Like it all, the way that I came up with the name of the band was, I was at, my brother's 7 years older than me, and at the time he was into this self-help movement. I forget what it was called, but it was really popular and a lot of people were doing it, and it took place at like a 3-day seminar at a hotel. And part of that was like you would bring newcomers in, and I was a newcomer, right? Mm-hmm. And there was like 7 of us, and they brought us into a different room, and they were like, "Are you ready to look at life differently?" You know, and it was like really, it was like they were trying to like change your world.
Was this OSHA? Was that guy from Oregon? That
OSHA.
Dude?
No, it was not. It was not the Occupational Safety Hazard Association.
No, it was like an Indian guru named OSHA who started like a whole thing.
It was close to. It was adjacent to one of those things. Yeah. And they put us in a room, and they had on the chalkboard "Human Being," and I just was at the age where I was like, humans being what, man? You know? And I just was like, this is the most profound thought I've ever had so far in my probably 19-year-old life. So I went to practice that night, and I was like, guys, humans being what? And then we just stuck with the Humans Being, and that was
Yeah.
it. And then Van Halen wrote a really big hit song called Humans Being for the stupid Twister movie
Yeah.
soundtrack, and people accused us of stealing that.
Really?
Yeah.
they,
Yeah, it was a big
they said that you
to do.
stole it from Van Halen for the tornado movie Twister.
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Which I'm convinced that Van Halen probably drove through Boston and saw our stickers, because we were really good with putting our stickers everywhere.
Yeah.
And they probably had the same thought I did. Like, Humans Being what, man? Like, I can imagine Eddie Van Halen being like, Humans Being what? You know, I could totally see that happening.
I miss the days of sticker promotion.
Yeah, man. Toll booths.
Oh man,
Urinals.
stalls.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you
I
guys?
still see it.
How did you guys branch out and start, getting known?
Just like anything, man. Just like in comedy, you start with like these all ages shows, on a Sunday at a church, from like 12 to 6 in the afternoon, and everything was do it yourself. So you'd meet this one band and you guys might vibe together. We might vibe with these other people and they've got something else going on, and it just would snowball until you get to it's just like comedy.
Yeah.
You meet people, you get connected, if you do the work, you're met with a reward.
Mm-hmm.
And then with that comes some luck too.
Yeah.
So we got signed to a record deal. So we didn't have to pay any money for our first record. Like, that came out, that
No?
happened really quickly. Yeah.
Shit.
And that was cool. It was a really great experience to be 19 years old and have that happening, But I was also 19 years old. So, I remember I didn't have, my bass wasn't working, and I didn't do anything to fix it, and I just assumed that the studio would have one, and you know what I mean? Like, I just sucked. I sucked at like basic shit. I had to figure that kind of stuff out. So it was great to have all that shit, but yeah, I was still a kid, man. I was still a kid.
Well, your band was like a hardcore band, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but different. I don't know, a lot of hardcore bands at that time talked a lot about like revenge or stabbing your boy in the back or
It was hardcore. I listen to hardcore music when I would lift weights, and it's always, this is a song for the dudes that are in the streets who know are in the streets, and your aunt didn't give you a present for Christmas, so fuck that bitch. It's kind of talking out emotions. It's screaming out emotions about someone you're mad at, or someone you desperately want to say, I love you and your friendship means something to me, but I can't fucking say it because it makes me gay.
Exactly, dude. And I'm just so not angry about anything anymore. There's so much to be angry about, more so than I was when my anger was like driving most.
Yeah, in the '90s when life wasn't that angry.
I guess there would have been a lot to be angry about if I was 40 in my mid 40s then, but I'm in my mid 40s now, and there's like, the world is insane, and it's scary. It's like, but I don't know. I don't know what to do.
I'm so glad I got most of my anger out when I was younger, because every now and then it resurfaces, and I have to, especially recently. And I know when it comes back, it's because something in my life is fucked up, and I can't fix it.
Yeah.
So my mind just goes, I'm fucking mad, and I got to sit down and have like a talk with myself and go, Mike, what are we mad about? Fucking someone put something on Facebook, and I go, is that really it? Is that really it? Is that what it is, man? Or is it, you dealing with your family's addictions and you not being able to help save people you care about?
Yeah.
Is that it? Is the world getting crazy and you don't have enough money, you're not rich yet? Kind of, every fucking time. And I got to fucking walk through it. I'm so happy I got through most of my anger when I was young, because being angry is exhausting.
It is.
And I don't have the energy I used to.
It is.
It's a lot of work to just sit down on your, like, now you can do it on your phone, but back in the day, you'd power up your desktop, you sit there on your PC, and you would angrily just click and fucking motherfucker on a message board.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah. I know. Well, I don't think we have, but I do think if you make a comment on any social media, whether it's the the LA Times story and you're going to comment on their story, or Boston.com, you're going to comment on their story. It should take a snapshot of your stupid face as your not your profile picture, your stupid live face as you're typing whatever it is you're typing, and then like, by the way, here's, it should be right next to you, and it says whatever it says. And then wouldn't that just disarm you, as if they came back saying something like horrible and just like really just evil, but then there's this dumb face and you're like, well, that came from you? Like, that's not powerful.
Yeah.
Like, it completely makes it powerless.
It really does. You just remind me of this line of, my favorite book is Homage to Catalonia by George Orwell. And Orwell was fought with the anarchists, right? So there was like an anarchist, socialist team up on one side, and the other side was monarchists and fascists during the Spanish Civil War. He was a volunteer, and he talked about how he was in a trench, and all of a sudden people start firing at each other, and he looks over, and he sees one of the fascists had been taking a shit. And now he's struggling to get up and run for cover with his pants down. He's like, there's shit coming out of his ass. And Orwell had him in his sights and he didn't shoot him. And he goes, it was hard for me to paint him as this crazy fascist because right now he's just a dude with his pants down.
Yeah, totally.
He's just a dude who got caught trying to take a shit. And he goes, I've got caught trying to take a shit.
Yeah.
And he let him go. He didn't shoot him. The pants around the ankles humanized him and took away the mysticism of his ferocity so much.
See, that doesn't, like, I watch a lot of horrible gore videos.
Yeah.
And I don't think the cartels would care.
I don't think they would.
If you shat your pants, they would just laugh and then dismember you.
Oh, dude, how do you sit through one of those without? I get the heebie-jeebies. I can't do it.
I have certain rules, like cartel videos I don't necessarily like, but I joke about it, like. Because the ISIS ones are incredible.
How do you cut the line between fucking ISIS and the Mexican cartel? And what?
Well, you can tell
this is a good decapitation. I'm an aficionado of decapitations.
I can't watch those.
Yeah.
No, I can. No way. I can't watch those. They're too no. But the production quality of ISIS is like, it's shot in 4K. And they use like drone footage and shit.
Yeah.
They have like sweeping, like panoramic, like it'll show like the tank, and then all of a sudden the tank will just obliterate a person, run them right over, and it shows everything. But there's people who are like behind the scenes, man, like working working the cameras and doing the editing, and then like, can you imagine?
Since I started doing this shit, I was like,
Yeah.
imagine if I was like doing porn.
Doing stuff.
Porn would be like, yeah.
Like, you're sitting there trying to get the audio just right.
Imagine you're editing a video of a family getting run over by a tank, and you're just like, dude, I got 5 videos here, and I'm just. I'm stuck between 2, and one of them just really speaks to me, but this other one, the lighting is so good.
Color grading.
It goes to show
Does the blood match like with the intestine?
Production value is everything in social media. It really is. It's all it is. It's all about, is your video quality good?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That's all the content.
Yeah. Yeah,
Huh.
so I don't know how I get through those videos. I don't know why I watch them. I should talk to my shrink about it, but I feel like it makes me a better driver.
Yeah,
because I see a lot of car accident videos, and I'm like, like based on really stupid decisions. These car accidents happen, and so I'm a better driver because of it.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what's going to happen. I used to be able to do it. I can't. So I have someone who is sending me videos of the war in Ukraine.
Yeah.
And I'll pretend to watch them, but I don't. I'm not actually watching them. I'll just click the. But it should be evident, because when someone sends you a 5-minute video and you hit like within 10 seconds,
right?
It's very indicative of the fact I'm not looking at this, because I open it. If I do open it, and I see a bunch of guys tied up, and I hear some angry voices, and I see a gun, I go, I know this is going, and I'm out. I'm good.
Yeah, this is not an improv show.
Yeah, this is not
Eastern Europe.
This is not an ASMR video, okay? Oh shit.
Yeah, what are you gonna do though? I mean, like, I've watched some of the Ukraine stuff, and I go on Reddit, and there's a lot of subreddits that show some stuff that is just,
really? I thought Reddit was very like PC or police, that kind of stuff.
No, not. I
No?
mean, you can find anything on there.
You can find filth on Reddit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. You can
I'm
find
not. I don't really
anything.
know about Reddit.
About Jews on there.
Yeah, dude.
You could be a cannibal, just not a racist cannibal.
Shout out to some of these subreddits, but they exist. You know,
Really?
If you just type in gore in Reddit, you know, you'll find it. But
I thought Reddit was just a lot of like anime, porn, and furry stuff, and people complaining about politics or local
depends on
stuff.
what you're into. You know, it's like
Uh-huh.
you can curate your front page basically based on your likes and you know what you're into, and there's subreddits for pretty much every thing you could imagine.
So I
you
could
know?
find a subreddit for videographers complaining about the production value of Colombian cartels.
Dude, if you went into the gore thing and was like, was this 30 frames per second or 60, you would get legit answers. Like,
Oh shit!
Do you use that 4chan?
that's I talked about lines, right? Like having lines, and for some reason 4chan is a line I won't cross. I consider 4chan like sort of the like iceberg tip of the dark web.
It scares me.
It scares me, yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to.
It's humorous.
I know I've seen stuff that comes out of there, but I just honestly, 4chan is the same reason I never fucked with opioids or heroin, because they just looked too dangerous to me.
Yeah.
I saw the slope, and you know, it looked like a black diamond of just wee. And I look at 4chan
Totally.
and I go, all right, I'm gonna come in here for some nice, good, clean, offensive fun. And then I'm just going to be staring at a picture of someone beating off on like an anime action figure. And I'm going to go,
Oh, you saw
how-
that? I saw that.
Oh, yeah, they're called tributes. And I go, the fact that I know that, I'm already that deep.
Politically incorrect on 4chan. All the other shit's
I'm that deep in. I don't want to go any farther down
I've seen
the
the
rabbit hole.
figurine covered.
The figure, the
figurine
glaze.
covered in old glaze.
The glazed Sailor Moons. I don't. It also. I remember that I'm like, what if I piss someone off on 4chan? Because I've seen
You'll
what
get
4chan
doxxed
does to
and
people they
you'll
don't
get-
like.
yeah.
Tom Green had a beef with 4chan, and they just destroyed his live feed whenever he would ever try and do anything.
Yeah, see, that's like, it's kind of like guns. Like I don't know, guns they exist, and I've shot one before at a range, and it was extremely powerful, and I felt like I don't deserve this power. But I know that there are people who have them, and when the shit hits the fan, I want to be friends with some of them.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I want to be friends with the 4chan guys.
Yeah.
I
Just in case I need
Yeah.
4chan to back me up for whatever reason. Because
Yeah.
I don't want them to, you know.
They can show me how to do tech stuff. I can show them how to talk to women. We can like find a nice in between.
That's all they want.
Yeah. Well, 4chan is kind of the baby one, but isn't there deeper chans? There's an 8chan. There are other
Started
chans.
with 2chan, didn't it?
4chan used to be like very fringe.
Yeah.
Now it's like becoming more like Reddit. Like because of 2016, they had the Donald was the biggest. Trump
Oh,
support
that's
thing
right,
on
that's
the
right.
web. It was like the only place you could support them.
Because I know Reddit closed that down, so everyone migrated to 4chan.
Yeah.
And so they're just going to make deeper chans? Eventually you're going to end up like a 26 chan?
Chan.
They know who's new and all this shit, and they fight with the newcomers, and because there's people that have been on there since like 2006.
Oh, so there's a scene. It's like a
It's like anything.
It's like any scene.
culture,
Yeah. Well, you know what's funny? I remember you bringing this up before. Another like it's funny. I remember your Facebook post from ages ago, Steve. Because some of you add some good stuff every now sometimes, even though Facebook is shit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen you on there, which I assume means you're doing better.
Well, yeah.
Because whenever I don't see someone on social media, I go, they must be doing good.
I'm still lurking.
It's
just
fine
not
as long as you're not
posting.
in there. I lurk
Yeah.
too. But you wrote something about stand up back when I cared about what was happening in the Boston comedy scene, and people would make me angry.
Yeah.
And you talked about a scene and how you've seen what a scene did for music.
Yeah.
And I had friends who were in the music scene and the hardcore scene, and they always talk about this guy's not really part of the scene. And you'd have the people that were scene adjacent, and there was just never ending infighting of who's a real, that's not real hardcore. That's not real comedy. That's not real rap. Or that's not real 4chan. There was always someone trying to police whatever it is that you were doing.
Yeah. Yeah. Always someone is like a purist, right?
Yes.
Like,
exactly. The comedy purists, the music purists, the nerd.
Yeah.
Like the person who nerds out on it. Yeah.
But you know what's funny is like until you realize that you're a nerd of your own special thing, like because like for instance, there's a movie called Last House on the Left, and for some reason
I've seen it.
I'm a nerd about that movie. I know a lot about it, and I could do a TED talk on that movie.
You could verbatim describe the rape scene, you know?
Totally. And what it meant in that culture and why in that time was rape revenge such a topic.
Yeah.
And what was going on with what happened to the dream of like that hippies were going to bring peace and Vietnam was going to be over. And like, but the reality was people kept coming home in body bags and like peace was not happening, and so this movie comes out. And anyway,
I'm interested. I could
totally like nerd out on this movie. So I'm careful to judge nerds because I know that there are things that I nerd about too. It's just mine are so stupid, you know. Like no one's invited me to a TED talk about the 1972 version of Last House on the Left and why was that so important in slasher history. And well, because fucking Jason and Freddy came out of it. That's why.
Do you think they came out of that movie?
Well, Sean Cunningham, who came out with Friday the 13th, and he was the producer, and Wes Craven was the director, and Wes Craven did Freddy. So this was kind of like the Beatles and Bob Dylan sort of like doing something together 10 years before like their huge hits.
Do you think that movie was a I'm trying to think of how to phrase this. It was them kind of putting a stamp on the end of the hippie movement?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Just in this gory bloodshed of it's
horrible.
You tried and it's over, kid.
Like I can't believe this because it's so that movie like that could actually happen. You know?
Yeah,
it could actually happen.
I never watched those, which is funny. I was never deep into horror movies.
Yeah.
But the stuff that really fucked me up was always vampires and werewolves and stuff like that. But the reality is I'm not going to be eaten by a vampire.
Right.
But somebody could stab me or kill me or sodomize me.
Yep.
And I'm trying to write a bit about this, but when I was a kid, my dad, this is what parenting was back, you know, I was born in 86, so I grew up in the 90s. And I remember being a kid, me and my brother with my uncle's house, my dad, my uncle are drinking. And he's kind of got a bar in his makeshift basement, and they wanted to give us something to do. So they put on Deliverance. They put on Deliverance for me and my kid brother. And my aunt comes home and she goes, I'm not letting them watch this. So she fast forwards through that graphic gay rape scene of the fat guy where they say, want to make you squeal, piggy. And so I watch a fast forwarded VHS staticky thing of a fat dude getting butt fucked, but I can't really tell. I can't tell exactly what's going on, but I can tell something weird is going on. And I have to watch the rest of this movie, which is from there on out, it's a revenge movie of some guys getting back at some hillbillies who raped a friend.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, why are they so mad? What happened? And that movie, more realistic than vampires. You know, that's the movie you watch that puts hair on, you know, on the back of your neck to stand up at night.
That movie did it for me was the next scene when Ned Beatty, who was the guy that got raped, had to have breakfast with everyone.
Oh.
He came down and like, you know, he was kind of like walking stiff, and he had to just sit there and kind of like not acknowledge what happened, but just like no words were said. You should watch it just for that.
Yeah.
That part, like, it was really, because he had to eat. He was still human.
Yeah.
You know?
Plus, he's a big dude. He kind of, he likes his food.
Ned Beatty.
You know, as a kid growing up, I watched Rocko's Modern Life, and they have a joke in Rocko's Modern Life where one of the cartoon characters, Rocco's doing a rowing machine at the gym.
Yeah.
And he watches a video for it, like you would with a Peloton.
Yeah.
And there's a video on his machine, and a hillbilly, he's rowing, and then a hillbilly pops up and goes, we're going to make you squeal, piggy. And tickles a pig with a feather. And I remember watching that, and I go, oh, that's from The movie.
Yeah.
What is
That's about rape.
that, dude? Rocco's Modern Life made a hardcore rape joke
Yeah.
in a kids show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how else can you put it? That's exactly what happened.
Dude, that's a line they say as
Yeah.
one dude's watching his friend rape another dude.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, no, it's cute. You know, it's a cute movie with the guitar. Yeah. With the banjo.
The movie that got people into banjos.
Yeah. That's what started me in music was
Was a good
Deliverance.
banjo?
Yeah.
Well, you said you played bass, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I played bass just because it was easier to get into a band because I was just a mediocre guitarist. But bass, everyone needed a bass player. Nobody wanted to do it, and I was willing to.
No one ever wants to play bass.
I don't understand why. It's a great, well, I do understand why, because you don't get complimented. No one was like, hey,
No.
like, I love the way you carried that fucking song, because that's what
No.
you're doing. You're like, you're what people are whistling when they walk away, if it's catchy.
Yeah. I send memes to my friend Frankie. He played bass for a hardcore band, and it's in Death Before Dishonor, and I always send him memes, and it shows things girls never say after a show. I want to fuck that bass player. And it's not, I know bass players still get pussy, but it's just something that the guitarist and the lead singer take a lot of the shine, and the drummer's always kind of a psycho, and he gets the super fucked up girls. But the bass player never gets what he deserves.
Yeah, I don't know what that's all about. The whole time I was in a band, I was in a steady relationship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it predated it. No, it didn't predate the band, but it wasn't a direct result of the band. So I don't think my playing bass was like working against me. so to speak.
Was that taxing? Was you going out to shows and meeting women? Like, did it continually cause?
Dude, I was so insane. Like, I was so insecure when I was younger. If my girlfriend at the time wasn't with me at a show, I would like not want to hang out. I'd want to go home
Really?
to her because I worried. I just worried, dude. It was horrible.
What you
I should
worried
have been
about?
medicated like way earlier in life. That something was going to happen. Something bad was going to happen.
To you or to
To
her?
her.
Oh, so you were just fearful of her
Of something
being.
bad happening.
Did that make you clingy? Did that cause problems?
I was hyper aware of it.
Oh,
so
really?
I had to teeter this line of being insane and then acting like I wasn't insane. And it sucked. And it was all because I didn't know how to love somebody without worrying.
Yeah,
I just didn't know. I thought that those two things like had to be together.
that's tough. It is.
know?
It
was insane, dude. And there's so I was so young. Who do you talk to about that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you even articulate? I couldn't imagine going to my parents and being like, I'm having a hard time with like how I feel when so and so is not around, and how do I quell that? Like, because this was before cell phones. It was pagers. We had pagers, man.
Yeah.
And if I didn't get that 143, the I love you, that's what 143 meant.
Is it?
In a
Oh.
page. Yeah. If you get 143, it's like the dope man calls you.
Yeah.
And telling you like you can come by now.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of relief. You're just like, oh.
That was the original dopamine rush of the red thing you
Yeah.
see on your apps. Wow.
Love was the original drug for me.
Yeah.
I think so. Big time.
Fix that obsessiveness for you. I'm just curious because I'm a psycho when it comes to that shit too.
Medication, and I think growing up a little bit, finally getting on antidepressants helped those racing thoughts, and also just I mean a lot of things, growth, therapy. I still don't know the root of it. It's not like I ever had a major abandonment issue. Like
Yeah.
nothing ever happened to like there, no tragedy ever happened that made me think like tragedy could happen again. I just was like, I'm not good enough for this person. They're going to find someone better than me, or they're going to, get into a crazy car accident, or something terrible is going to happen. And I just couldn't relax and enjoy the moment. It was terrible.
Sometimes it really isn't. I think everyone, when they're trying to help themselves, is looking for that, that spark, that meteor that killed the dinosaurs. We know exactly how it happened, but the reality is it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes we just are what we are. And, I remember talking to my therapist about kink, and I was like, I don't know if I should be into what I'm into, right? Like I'm hitting a girl with a whip. And he goes, does she like it? And I go, yeah. And he goes, well, it's all right. I go, yeah, but am I doing it because of this and this? And he goes, do you feel like it's unhealthy? I go, nah, I mean, like in the moment I didn't. But I go, nah, it seems like you're doing it right. He's like, all right. He goes, you don't got to dig those strings. He goes, you can if you want.
Yeah. He's asking you some basic questions like, is this making your life unmanageable?
Yeah.
You know, the same thing you would ask an addict. Is your using making your life unmanageable?
Yeah.
You know, are you like leaving work early to go whip a girl? Are you paying too much money to go whip a girl? You know?
I tell my foreman, I'm like, dude, I can't stay late tonight. I know I said I'd be here and work OT, but dude, I got a whip with my name on it. All right, and I got this bitch who man, she's hankering for a whooping, dude.
Yeah, so it's all in moderation, right? I suppose.
No, it is. It's all it came down to. And eventually I kind of did grow out of it partially as I kind of just got better on my own.
Yeah.
And as my ability to communicate in relationships changed.
Yeah.
Also just growing my sex drive isn't nearly what it was when I was 25.
Right.
I'm 10 years older.
Yeah.
It's still there, but it's not. You know, it's not that raging, I'm going to fucking punch a wall if I don't fuck. Like that obsessive thing you get when you're a young man and it rules everything.
I had an experience that I talk about this on stage when I have time, when I have extra time, and if the audience, if I can gauge it, they'll follow me. But I had an experience where I was getting changed, and I had a walk-in closet. And as I was getting changed, I just happened to look down, and the tip of my dick was sticking out of my boxers. And I looked at it, and I was like, really? Like, you? I felt like for the first time in my life, I actually saw my dick for what it is. And it's just this little...
Just a fleshy appendage.
Fleshy puppy that was like sticking its head out, being like, hey, what's going on? Like, what are we doing? And I'm not having it anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not taking you out. Like we're gonna go out. Like you're gonna fucking behave.
Yeah.
And you're gonna like walk. You're not gonna chew on your leash or like you know try to run me around the block. Like we're gonna walk in tandem.
Yeah.
And for the first time, I realized that this thing has been kind of calling the shots a lot.
Yeah.
And it was kind of nice to just look at it flaccid and stupid.
And put him in his place, have like, you had like Cesar Milan come in, the dog whisperer, and go, ch-ch. You became the dick whisperer in that moment.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. And it's humbling.
I've had a similar experience, and it took me a long time to get there. And I remember I might have been tripping, and I just instinctively reached in my pants just to subconsciously stop playing with my dick. And I look down and I go, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And even my dick wasn't into it, kind of. And I go, oh, what? And I go, what do I want to be doing? I could be doing something else. And I go,
good question.
I go, I just had a free moment.
Yeah.
And my hand just went, whoop.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, dude, put it away. You're not getting, no, you've been the star of the show every day.
Yeah, man.
For far too long. And you know what? Now you're a background character. You're still there.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
but
you still get SAG benefits.
Yeah, you still. You were Kramer, now you're Newman. Okay,
Yeah.
Still fundamental part of the show. All right, but you're not going to be in every episode.
Definitely not.
All right.
Yeah, so I mean, I was a messed up kid, man, and I didn't have anybody to turn to talk to about what was going on and why this was happening and why that was happening. And
how did that lead you to using? Were you using regular medication and then self-medicating?
No, I wasn't on. I didn't get on any psychiatric medicine until after I stopped using like street drugs, I suppose.
Yeah.
But what stopped me, during that time, I was just smoking a ton of weed and drinking a lot. And it wasn't necessarily like, I don't think at that point I probably smoked more pot than most people, and I probably partied more than most people, but I was also living a lifestyle where that was, I was in a band, and
It's what you do.
This was what we do, and we all showed up for work, so everything was fine. But then I just started having parties where like this one kid showed up and he had cocaine, and actually no, that's not the story. I bought cocaine and got really excited and went to Marshall's and bought like a fake silver platter.
Oh wow, you went
we were gonna
all
go
in, huh?
style.
Yeah.
And there was like 11 of us, and so I chopped up a whole bunch and we passed it around, and it went around the 11 of us twice, and it got to me for the third time, and I did my third line and passed it to the next person, and everyone was all set.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I had this huge pile of Coke, and I couldn't believe that people were all set, Like, what do you mean you're all set? Like,
I know that feeling.
needless to say, I finished that on my own and called the guy another time that same night, and he had come by again, and I hadn't told anybody about the fact that I called him. So that's like, once you start keeping secrets, dude, like secrets are bad. Secrets are bad, and it's hard to live like a life worth living when you're keeping secrets about that kind of stuff. And so cocaine became part of like my partying, and the band was starting to play less, and I was just starting to party more, and then OxyContin became really popular, and that helped me with, as we called it, landing gear. That helped me come down off the coke. Turned out my neighbors sold OxyContin, because the first thing that I used for landing gear was I sniffed some dope, and that was the first time I ever did heroin. It was just a line, and that helped me go to sleep that night. The girls upstairs had the OxyContin, so I did that. And then from then it was just like the classic story, you know what I mean, of the heroin addict, like
just pills and then into
like why not just shoot up, or why not just get heroin and sniff it? It's cheaper, it's more the real thing, and then your spiritual values lessen and lessen as you get further and further into it. Like I would go to my dealer's house on my lunch break, and people would be shooting up, and I'd be like in a suit, you know what I mean? I'd be like, not that bad.
Yeah, I'm not one of these guys.
Not one of these guys. And it wasn't only like, a couple of weeks later, I'm rolling up that very same sleeve, But I credit a lot of influences, including my family, for getting me clean. They put a lot of like tough love consequences on.
Well, how long were you using for?
Heroin?
Yeah.
14, 15 months.
Oh. How did you...
Like, that's how quickly I went from
just
having having a band, having a car, having a job, to 14 months later, I'm a new parent, and because that happened right in that time too. But yeah, it didn't take long. Is
that what made you stop? Was becoming a dad?
That was part of it. That was definitely part of it. Like I said, it was a lot of things. It was, I always knew deep down that I needed to stop, and I had a lot of the members of my family were already in recovery, so it was like a pretty easy transition. Like they already had been through this before, they had seen this before. They hadn't seen heroin addiction, so it was a little bit different. There was a lot more nastiness involved, I guess.
Yeah.
With that particular, like. Anyway, yeah, it was a lot of different variables that got me clean. My son is definitely one of them.
So the tough love did work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was not allowed to come home, even after I got out of treatment. So I had to make some tough decisions really quickly.
Yeah.
But I got into sober living right away, and started going to 12-step meetings right away, and that became my life, dude, for like
So you did the meeting thing.
everything.
I remember talking to you about this. Yeah. Oh, really?
For 16 years, I was clean and sober in a 12-step fellowship.
Because I went to AA, like when my therapist is telling me is going, it seems like, Mike, whenever you have problems and you fight with your girlfriend and you get in fist fights with random people on the street and you have these, not saying everything in your life is great because you're dealing with a lot of shit, clearly, but you happen to be drunk when a lot, if I goes, does you getting drunk make these things better? And I go, nah, it seems like it makes it worse. I was like, all right. And I try to stop, and then when I couldn't, that's when I was struggling with that. That's when it really bothered me, and I hit up my uncle. He brought me to meetings, and meetings really helped me in the beginning.
Yeah,
but I never went through the program.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for me.
Yeah,
and I just kind of found a way to do it on my own. If ever I got that down feeling, I would just go to a meeting.
Yeah,
and over time, it just went away.
Yeah,
I just didn't need to go. But a lot of people ask me when they're getting sober, they're like, oh, should I go to meetings? And I go, well, yeah. I'm not saying that it's going to be the thing that works for you, but it's an option, and I respect what it does.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, my outlook on helping the newcomer is never going to change, which is, you always want the newcomer to have every opportunity to, get the message and have that relief of knowing, or that feeling of having the desire to use go away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we all can relate to that miracle once that feeling is lifted.
Yeah, I've taken a couple people to their first meetings, and it's funny. Whenever it happened, it just so happened that I took them to gay meetings.
Yeah.
Or meetings where everyone there was almost always gay.
Yeah.
And well, obviously I did one in the Back Bay, and the other one was in the fucking theater district in Manhattan. Yeah. And I was like, I know, because sometimes people are already on edge, and they're like, all right, am I questioning my sexuality now? Or is AA like I go, no, because I go, look, meetings can be very different. Sometimes it's you and a bunch of construction workers, with some grizzled fucking dudes who tell stories like you wouldn't believe. And sometimes I've walked in on all women meetings, and they've let me stay.
Yep.
Or you end up and it's I guess they're queer meetings now, because it's so that when I first started getting in and I realized there's so many different meetings, it confused the fuck out of me.
Right.
It was daunting for me.
Right.
That because I was just trying to figure out how not to drink, and I look at this menu and I go, I don't know how to figure this out either.
Yeah.
Like, can I just let me show up so I don't go get drunk, please?
Yeah, exactly. And you're right though. If you stumble into the one that's not classified as an open meeting or something, they'll for the most part be very accommodating and either let you stay or tell you where there's one that's nearby or whatnot. Because a lot of times they'll be in a church on like a Tuesday night where the next night is like a regular meeting that anyone can attend. But so for 16 years I lived a life of like recovery, man. Like that was my whole identity, was I was in recovery. And when I started doing comedy, it was because I saw Dick Doherty at an NA convention.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw Dick?
He was the headliner.
Really?
And he was doing what I was doing in meetings, was just making people laugh by telling stories. And I didn't realize that that's exactly what comedy was.
Yeah.
And that I had been unknowingly been doing stand-up in meetings
already.
But I wasn't one of those people that was like trying to make people laugh.
Yeah.
There's a difference. I would just tell a story, I would make an analogy, and people would think it was really funny. And there was a point where I actually thought, like, guys, stop laughing, because I'm actually trying to save my life. I get it.
I'm this close to ending it, okay?
Right. So, like I said, that became my identity, who I was. The fact that I shot dope became this weird badge of honor.
Yeah.
I became very involved at the at the service level of like the area, like the New England area of this fellowship, and it saved my life.
Yeah.
It absolutely saved my life. And then I ate 10 grams of mushrooms and everything changed.
Yeah, what happened?
Well, I read this book called How to Change Your Mind, and it wasn't my idea to read this book. It just happened. It was a book by Michael Pollan, who mostly does like cookbooks. And he wrote this amazing book about psychedelics and the history of them and the resurgence of them. And I got the calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I had remembered that in my 20s, I loved psychedelics.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't see them as a drug. I didn't see them as an escape. I didn't see it as a way to change how I felt. I saw this as a way to maybe start the next part of my life.
That's how I feel about it.
Because at the beginning of a midlife crisis, really, is when I started thinking about this.
Mm-hmm.
So what's crazy is like, I met my wife online on Bumble, and it turned out that we lived very, very parallel lives. We were both in recovery. We both vaped. We both went to the same vape shop, and we both lived in the same town.
Yeah.
But we hadn't ever crossed paths. So my wife went from knowing me as someone who was very much clean and sober to someone who now had this mushroom experience that completely changed how I feel about traditional 12-step recovery.
Yeah.
And since the mushrooms, I had been treating my insomnia with Ambien for about 7 years.
Shit.
Ambien, you're only supposed to be on for about 2 weeks.
Yeah, Ambien's some fucking some strong shit.
Dude, I've done some shit on Ambien, man. I tried to eat a battery. I dipped a battery in peanut butter, man. I swear to God.
What was it, a double A or a D battery?
It was a double A.
Ah.
It was a fucking double A battery.
Oh, man.
And I dipped it in peanut butter, and the next morning I came out. I don't know if you remember my joke about, like, the next morning I came out to a crime scene, and it said, "Help me," on the mirror.
Really?
Like, no, I mean, that was part of my bit.
Shit.
But, like, it was, like, seriously, every morning I would wake up and, like, I have to put the pieces together.
Of what, like
Not
a blackout?
Not every morning, but
Enough that I've only done Ambien once, and I purposely was drinking Red Bull with it to try and trip.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and I did. It was weird, and it wasn't a fun trip. It was like robo tripping. If you chug,
I've never done that either. No.
Yeah, it's
dextromorphin or whatever it is.
You feel disgusting. It's not the clean feeling you get when you trip in a traditional way. It was a gross, sluggish feeling, and that was not. Yeah.
Is there anything even psychedelic about it?
It's hard to explain. It was a depressant, but there was also things were getting wavy in that sense as I was looking. But it wasn't a introspective.
It's a
trip.
deliriant, I think.
Yes,
right?
yes. It was more like that.
Drunkish.
It was more of a what's going on?
Yeah.
I don't know. It was losing control, but not where I lose control with a very strong hallucinogen and come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
There was no. The only conclusion was, now I have the fucking shits, and I want to throw up.
Yeah.
And now I don't have any NyQuil left. One time I just did NyQuil, and I slept for 2 days.
Oh, wow.
And I go, that was a fucking bad idea.
So what do you think you were searching for?
I was young. I was so when I was robo tripping, I was in college.
Yeah.
And when I was in college, I would do anything. You put a drug in front of me, I was gonna do it.
Yeah.
I had never partied until I went to school. My dad was really strict. I was a good student, and I had seen. So I grew up in Southie, so I had seen OxyContin and Percocets coming around and what it was doing, and I could see that zombie state, and that always scared me.
Yeah.
So, but when I was in a social state, when people and I was just smoked weed, drank, tried mushrooms. I never even did coke back then because we were broke. We barely had money for fucking Rubinoff.
Right.
Never. We would pull our money together to buy an $11 handle of vodka.
Yeah.
That's where we were at. So we didn't have coke money. And for me, it was just getting out and socializing and letting loose and losing absolute control and exploring that. And eventually I realized, I had plenty of trauma that I just had no way of even understanding, because what I thought was normal was what I realized eventually was incredibly a fucked up family life. Once I met, no one's normal, but more, families that are more stable and have more love and stuff like that.
Yeah, sure.
And then with I remember working a job I hated. All right. I was working with this one company doing stagehand work, and I was miserable.
Yeah.
All right, I was really working long hours, and it was taking a toll on me physically and mentally. I never knew where my life was going. I didn't want to do this, right? I went to school, and then the recession happened, and my degree was immediate. I was so proud of myself for graduating college.
Yeah.
My dad was proud of me because my parents never went to college, and my dad's like, "You're the first one in my family to graduate from college. I'm so proud of you." And then the recession happened, and it was like he put that all on me because he couldn't admit that the American dream had been fumbled, or that it never was real to begin with. As Colin says, you have to be asleep to believe it. He really believed in this, the bootstraps, and so it was put on me as you're just lazy or dumb or you didn't make it work.
Yeah.
And then he'd always told me, you're not going to work with your hands like me and everyone else in the family. You're going to be one of those businessmen, but he didn't even fucking know. It's such a rudimentary working class guy view of what he thought. Like, you go to college and all of a sudden I'm just out eating steak with billionaires and
briefcases.
Yeah, just no fucking concept of what the white collar, of what that was. And so in that period, that's when I would just do anything. And I was drinking. I hoped eventually when I was drinking that I would just not wake up. I just want to black out and not wake up.
Yeah, man.
And that's what I was doing until I finally stopped. But that's where it eventually got to, was it went from being fun to just, I really don't like my fucking life, and I don't want to be awake in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that gets heavy quick,
So what did the mushroom experience do for you, though? Because you say you're not in the 12-step program anymore.
Correct. Well, the other thing I was saying was that I started using cannabis to sleep instead of Ambien. But that wasn't right. That wasn't like the day after I did the mushrooms. That took some time. I was always told that in recovery, if you step outside the tribe, you'll like, if you, not that you won't be welcome back. It was always you'd be welcome back, but you can't just step outside the tribe and come back.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't work like that. Or like, you can't, like, not that you can't step outside the tribe and come back, but you can't step outside the tribe and have no consequences. And I felt like I didn't have any consequences. You know what I mean? Like, I had this amazing experience that I can't even, like, that putting to words is even a disservice. So
when you say people listen to step outside the tribe, you mean like using something like weed or hallucinogens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was an issue I always had with AA. Was I was always told, do not mention the fact that you still smoke weed.
Yeah.
Because I smoked weed for a while. I only am just now not smoking weed anymore. It was after my ayahuasca experience. And over time, it had just trailed off after COVID because I wasn't in the city anymore with comics and socializing, smoking blunts.
Yeah.
But it was a thing that was, I didn't feel like I had a problem with weed.
Yeah.
And so weed never made me violent. It didn't make me black out. And that was an issue. Or when, I was still doing mushrooms, I would still trip every now and then. And I was always told, don't bring that up. And I go, why? I don't have, I have an alcohol problem. That's my problem. So that was something that always kept me kind of on the fringe myself.
Yeah.
And never fully in was don't be careful you mention that too. And, even people I trusted would be like, you do your thing. And if I would even mention, hey, dude, I had this amazing experience hanging out with my friends and my brother. We did mushrooms and we played with a Tibetan bowl. And I meditated. For the first time in my life, I meditated. And they're like, fucking whatever. You know, like they were bothered that I had this conclusion through a
whatever. Give me my Red Bull.
You know, I mean, shut up while I fucking smoke this pack, eat this pint of Haagen-Dazs, and drink my coffee.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We I had the experience. I did it with I did it as close to as they do at Johns Hopkins in the actual university treatment center.
Oh, they give you mushrooms there?
They give you it's psilocin that they give you, or psilocybin that they give you, but it's not. I believe it's not. I believe it's one of those like not synthetic,
like a derivative.
A derivative.
They boiled it down. And, yeah.
But yeah, so I had a sitter. I had two sitters, and we did integration. Afterwards, weeks afterwards, we did integration like immediately after. We did integration, and by integration, I mean we talked about the experience and like what I saw and what that might mean and what my takeaways were.
That's a great feeling that a lot of people I don't think ever get. That what made my experience doing ayahuasca so amazing wasn't just the experience and then I'm out in the fucking jungle with the shaman, but that me and the other people there were all searching for something, and the next day we would sit around, me and people from different countries and shit, and we talk about what we saw in a completely honest environment. And I'm being honest about some shit I went through. I get nothing. I came here. I'm willing to go to the fucking edge of the earth and the edge of my fucking mind. I will tell you. And people gave me. Do you think people just say, hey, do you think maybe this is what's going on? And it's nice to hear another perspective, especially from people who've been through this before.
Yeah. See, that's funny because I've never done ayahuasca, and the idea of tripping with a whole bunch of strangers upsets me.
Yeah.
Yeah. The whole idea of of a dirt floor.
It was kind of scary, I'll be honest.
Like the shitting and the puking, or just the threat of maybe having to shit or maybe having to puke.
Yeah, it's a lot. You can still do it just fine with mushrooms. Yeah, I had to go far, but
don't you have to you can't take your medication? You have to be off your meds for like months.
It can really run your meds haywire. Yeah. So I met a guy there who does this, what you're talking about with truffles, because those are legal in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And he's a spirit guide or a helper, and so you don't have to go. I went to the deep end.
Yeah.
But people don't have to go that far. You can do it just with mushrooms or something lesser, and not have to puke and shit.
Right.
Not everyone needs that.
Right.
I did. That was just what my thing called for.
I might need that too. I might need a good puke and a good shit,
So what you need to do is eat 10 grams of mushrooms and follow it up with some Taco Bell. Just a chalupa filled with mushrooms.
That's what we did. We did 10 grams, and it was
a hero dose.
It was the hero dose is 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You did a superhero dose.
So, I saw civilization being created through pixels. At one point, I thought that my left arm twitched, and I thought it made me think of my mom for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I asked my wife if she knew if my mom was left-handed, and she was no. Like, well, can you Google it? And I thought you could just Google it. It just made so much sense.
Can we Google what hand Ma used?
Yeah, and that was probably that cracked me up for like an hour. I kept laughing about that. But yeah, I mean, like we were talking about at the beginning, my message to the newcomer has not changed, and that's why I have to see this whole mushroom thing, like the ego death, right?
It's so important.
Yeah, but how do you then make TikToks if your ego dead?
I had to struggle, man. I had to struggle.
That's my hard time with like social media. Is like I understand that this is all to serve my ego, and this is all for likes, man. This is all for fucking likes, and I can't do that.
I almost couldn't do comedy.
Really?
Afterwards. It killed my ego so thoroughly that I was just happy. I was like Buddha under the fucking tree. I was sitting there in the jungle, just meditating, watching ants on a log for 6 straight hours.
Yeah.
Right? in, and no one, what sucks is all my friends give me shit. They didn't see me like that. They saw me come back, reintegrate, and then get pissed off at the world that I had to come back into. Because I came back and I go, oh, now the blanket is off. The glasses are on. I can see everything for everything. And I go, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Why did I do that? And I had to figure out a way to get back into it. My first set was weird. It was very weird because I was in a, it wasn't like mushrooms. I was in a malaise for weeks after. And I remember sitting, I'm going on stage and I go, and I'm in a cowboy bar in New Hampshire called the Saddleback Saloon, right above Lowell. And I go, I'm watching all these like Lowell type Southern rednecks with hats on. And I go, all right. I went up and I did good. I killed, but I was contemplating, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And eventually I said, well, you don't want to work a traditional job because it makes you want to blow your brains out. So do this. I go, and eventually I had those shows where afterwards I go, all right, I'm happy.
Right.
I like what I did. And when, as corny as it is, when someone walks up and goes, I had a great night, thank you.
Yeah. It means a lot.
I get that feeling,
Yeah.
and it's that feeling I get where I like to help people.
Yeah.
So you said you like helping newcomers. Part of why I made this podcast, I like to help people.
Yeah.
And I would get that from it. And I go, all right. One of my big profound things I got after ayahuasca was I realized I did ayahuasca, what I used to do to women when I was younger. I put it on a fucking pedestal. I put comedy on a pedestal as if it was going to fix my life and be the answer to everything, and fame and wealth or just whatever I got out of comedy would just fix everything, and I wasn't living. And so when it let me down and disappointed me, I get so angry at myself, at the industry, or whatever I thought the industry was, and I had to just let it go and go, Mike, you're just a mass of organs in a little skin case.
Yeah, you're a
meat bag on stage talking to a bunch of other meat bags, and you're making this weird sound come out of their throats, and it makes you feel good for some reason inside.
Wow, dude.
The world's a fucking crazy place.
Yeah.
Do you like it? I had my therapist again about my sex thing.
Yeah.
Do you like it? Yeah. Does it hurt you? For the most part, no. All right, well, get rid of the parts of it that hurt you and keep doing what makes you feel good. And I came back, and then I had those questioning moments, and what helped was, when something goes viral, it makes you feel fucking good. It's like a joke landing, and I go, all right, if I can do this once, I can do it again. Because I struggle with social media, and what it took me so long was to realize that social media is like comedy or any other music or whatever, in that as comics, we know how long it takes to find your voice, right?
Right.
You're trying to, I did do that with social media, but I wasn't finding my voice in open mic where 10 people could make fun of me. I was finding my voice where I open my phone and someone goes, I hope you kill yourself. You're a fat fuck. You're a stupid ginger prick. What's up, fucking Diet Bill Burr? Just fucking uglier Louie. Just whatever. Like and then even me, I go, dude, I put on a wig and made a video and took time out of my day as an adult man to do this.
Yeah.
And I go, dude, it's you slinging jokes.
Yeah.
And eventually, I've kind of figured out what I like. And I go, as long as if I have too much trepidation about putting something out, I'm like, don't do it.
Yeah.
And if I can live with it, just do it. And I go, do you want to keep doing comedy? And I go, yeah. And I go, do you want to do more with comedy? I go, yeah. And my brain said, then you have to do the social media. You can't not do it. And I go, well, it is what it is. It's kind of like I read a lot of Stoic philosophy. Marcus Aurelius said, just do what a person does and make peace with it. That's what you got to do. And I got there, and I also tried to find something I like doing. I'm working today. I was at just finally work. I've said so much in this podcast. It's taken me so long to figure out how to do this. Making like YouTube travel thing from when I went to Colombia. I videotaped so much stuff, and I'm a dude who comes from a computer literate family. My dad still can't use a computer. Doesn't understand how the internet works.
Yeah.
Everything I've done, I've taught myself. I'm getting there, and I like what I'm doing, and that's if I'm enjoying what I'm doing. That's what I was going to say to you is I saw you play GTA online a lot, right? GTA 5, still, GTA 6, you still do?
Yeah.
Do you Twitch stream?
No. I I had an idea of doing something like Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, but in GTA.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Thank you. And
Just playing a video game together.
yeah, like the guy would, like I would meet the comic, not the guy, the person. I would meet the person at the airport, the character, and I'd pick them up, and then we would go to wherever the venue's going to be, and we'd have like an interview during the drive.
Yeah.
And then we would go and actually do stand up to, like, because you can have up to 30 people
in a server
in a lobby. Yeah. So we could have an audience at at one of the venues. Let's see, there's a stage at the strip club.
So you're doing what Meta wants to do, but the idea is in GTA in San Andreas, right?
Yeah. No. Los Santos.
Los Santos.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, dude, like, we talk about perspective and we talk about age, and like the way you described still doing comedy despite experiencing what people describe as ego death.
Yeah.
I needed to hear that because it's a conflicting thought,
Yeah.
and it's okay to have two conflicting thoughts or three. It's okay to have conflicting thoughts. And, you talked a lot about sort of reacting to that first voice. My wife and I joke about this a lot. The first voice is such an asshole. The first voice is the racist. The first voice is the homophobe. The first voice is the asshole.
Yeah.
And the first voice is the funny one.
Yeah.
And so we have to like figure out, when is that first voice gonna say something funny enough that I can bring it to my actual like bit. And I thought that I was done with comedy through COVID because I wasn't willing to do any virtual shows.
I didn't either.
I just decided that they were stupid, and that's what I do when I don't want to do something or I'm intimidated by something. I decide that it's stupid, and it was really, I was just intimidated by it, and I didn't want. First of all, the thing was only supposed to last 2 weeks, right? So I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. But no, man, we just like, I'm still like, I'm doing shows now, but I'm not doing Monday through Friday shows. I'm not like doing showcases, or I'm not doing mics. I'm only doing work, and I'm writing like a little bit here and there, but I'm not putting in the work right now, comedically. And yeah, it's good to hear about the ego death, man, because that's going to be like,
I do that same
how
thing.
do you struggle with that?
Where I decide something stupid, and I go, I'm not doing this. And I did that forever with social media, and then I remember going to a show and I'm meeting some of the old timers in the comedy community, old timers, the legends, the veterans, and some of them were like, "Oh yeah, I would never do that," and I go, "Oh, I'm gonna end up like this. I'm gonna make I don't have to be telling myself I'm a dinosaur, because the world's gonna keep changing with technology and culturally in this sense of how I present myself.
Right.
So I got to do something about it, or I'm just gonna sit around and be unhappy and bitch and moan." And I can't, do I like social media? No, I fucking hate it. But I got to find a way to utilize it and accept that it exists. Otherwise, I just don't get to really do what I want to do the way I want to do it. And it was a hard fight for me. It was and then I remember getting on TikTok and having a bunch of people go, other comics, other guy comics, the younger comics go, "That's fucking gay. It's fucking gay. That's fucking gay." And now they all have them. They're all bragging on Facebook. My fucking stand-up video got 1 million views. And I'm not the dude who brings back the old post and goes, "Hey, remember?" But because I'm glad that people get out of that phase.
Yeah.
And
well, that's the thing. Like when my experience is that when I see a comic do something that makes me go, "Ugh, why'd you do that?" It's really just I've done that myself, and I am recognizing that I've grown past that.
Yeah.
Or not grown past, because that makes it seem like I'm better than, but that that's something I had done in my past.
Yeah.
And massively friending people. Like when you remember that, like when we start doing comedy,
I get
you're just
those.
gonna
I still
friend
get them,
everyone.
and I go, what? Oh, or you ever just open up Facebook and you see a post and you go, what the fuck is this? And who are you?
Yeah,
And I go, it has to be comedy. It's comedy related.
yeah,
And then I'll look through and I'll decide if I'm gonna unfriend them or if is it worth my time to check out your page and unfriend you.
right,
Because why am I doing this?
right.
You know, you were someone who went to an open mic 3 times, and now you're. If I think their social media is toxic, right? They're just in there to fight about politics. I don't need that shit.
Yeah.
I'm going to cultivate what it is that I look at.
Yeah, I'll go in my Xbox party chat for my politics. That's a world that I
Is
spend
it?
a lot of time in. Like you said, GTA. I play sumo now in GTA, which is
What's sumo?
It's a game mode where you have everyone has a car and you try to get into this zone that shrinks every 30 seconds and it moves. And you try to knock people off the map and then get to the zone. 30 seconds are up, the zone closes, another zone opens, you got to race to that one. But I'm on party chat and I'm like jealous of how like the slang that the kids have now is so much cooler than any of the slang that I ever had. Like,
But we didn't have the internet to cross pollinate for slang.
yeah, but
like
still,
they
man,
do.
like I love the term sus.
Oh, suspect?
Yeah.
For like, oh, if you're gay, you're suspect, you're sus. Yeah, right?
Whatever it is.
That's what it means.
Whatever. Like,
I mean, it's the new way of saying gay without saying gay.
oh, is it? I just thought it was if is it really?
Yeah.
I
That's what
thought it
is,
was
right?
just like
I'm almost
like,
positive that's
just
what
like
it
that
is.
suspect.
I always thought I
Not
always see
necessarily the gay
people
thing.
say,
They use it generally too. But
is it evolved?
I'm sure that-
Originally, I remember that's how I would just see it on World Star is someone would something
World Star.
quasi gay would happen, and you'd see someone. The comments would be like, "Oh, that's suspect, yo. That's
Well, because
suspect."
they say the kids these days, the kids
Yeah.
say that's gay just as much as they say
Do they?
that's
Oh.
sus.
Maybe it's different. Maybe I'm just an old timer trying to figure out some shit.
Well, we
I don't
both
know.
are.
Yeah,
You know, I'm 10 years older than you,
Yeah.
and I'm in party chats with these people like constantly, like at least every night, and or at least like every weeknight that I'm not working. So sus, I think is great. If somebody is not good at something, they're try hard. I think that's the best term ever.
Tryhard's a good one. I like
Try hard
that.
is such a great term for someone who's trying too hard. You know, they're like someone in traffic who's trying to like weave in and out. They're try hard. You know, and you
Forcing it. My cousin told me that one. That one's kind of fallen out, but he used to. My cousin is younger than me. He go, "You're forcing it." And I go, "Forcing what? You tried." He go, "Dude, you're like mass times acceleration." I go, "What?" He goes, "You're forcing it. F equals ma." For Matt, and I go, "Oh, you
punch him in the
sneaking a
face.
physics joke in there on me, huh? Too." And then I used it on someone else because it was a good. I like that.
Yeah. What else do they say? Dog water. If something's no good, it's dog water.
Really?
That's awesome.
Dude, I can't even.
Dog
keep
water is
up.
disgusting.
It is. That's
Just
a good
sits
one.
there and it's like has stuff falling into it all the time, and then
Have you tried doing a stand-up show on there? yet?
no, dude. I am so. You know how I am. Like I'm a comedian on stage.
Yeah.
When I'm on my headset playing a game,
It's a chance to chill out and be off,
they're
right?
just they're kids. you
Yeah.
know? And then there's it takes a long time to find adults to play with, and I finally have like curated a good group of adults that I play with
Yeah.
on a regular basis. But every once in a while, these kids come in, and I have a theory with how much they talk about being gay and how much they say the word faggot. It's a lot.
So young kids are still saying that.
It's a lot, dude.
Okay.
It's a lot.
So it's not like that because I always hear that.
No, it
that,
hasn't
that
gone
phase
away.
has gone
It
away.
hasn't gone away. It has
No.
not gone
Okay.
away. If anything, it's like a slingshot. Like the further you pull it back, the more attention it takes.
Especially because it carries. You can get in more. Back in the day, your teacher might call you a faggot. It didn't even. Back in the day.
Back in the day, that could happen. Yeah.
Everyone was saying it. Now it carries more weight. So maybe they're using it more. for
Well,
that.
I would love to talk to a psychiatrist about this, like that I'm not paying a copay for. Because I have a theory that these children, because they're children,
Yeah.
are experimenting with like homo curiosity. And by engaging in this language, by saying something's gay, by calling somebody a faggot, it's sort of dipping your toes into this world that you're not used to. That's not your world, you know? And maybe it's really just this form of experimenting with language as a way to experiment with your own sexuality.
Yeah.
By saying you're gay all the time. I mean, every once in a while I'll pop in and be like, so what? Like, there's 16 people in this party. 1 in 10 people are gay, so there's probably at least one person in this party that's gay, and like everyone will be like, "You're fucking gay."
That's gay.
Exactly.
Oh man, yeah. It reminds me of, I don't know if you ever watched the Boondocks, but there's a character there, Riley Freeman, and he's just this young black kid who just, that's gay, that's gay. Everything he calls his grandpa, that's gay. You know, calls his grandpa gay. I think it's what you're saying. I think. Dude, I was with my friend, and I haven't been out in the city for a while.
Yeah.
I was been in New Hampshire, and with COVID, I haven't come back. I was just doing shows out in the boonies and making more money, working weekends. And so me going, like you, for a while, I was like, dude, I'm not going in for an unpaid showcase in the city and finding. I was like, because my whole life I had been a city dude. So I was in the city already. It was nothing to me.
Right.
And I come back in, and I'm looking for something to do. My biggest gripe with Boston is there's just, if you're not getting fucked up, if you're not getting drunk, what is there for me to do in the city?
Right.
It's not like other cities where there are places where you can just kind of chill, or there's late night cafes, or there's pool halls that aren't there, or bowling alleys, or any number of places, or a cigar bar. I went to a cigar bar in Providence. That are open late, and that's very chill. And I went to this burger place on Newberry Street, expensive burger place, and it was just young kids. And they may have been under 21, but so 18 to 21, but young. And I go, dude, how do you guys have money? Because I'm looking at this menu going, a $20 fucking cheeseburger and fries don't come with it? And I'm going, oh, shit. And they're all in there, and it reminded me of Fire and Ice. I used to like to go Fire and Ice.
I remember that place, yeah.
But that's a place where you would go when you're a teenager and you don't get fucked up yet.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
for something to do, an event. And I looked at them, and I turned to my friend, I go, look at these youngins. And she goes, yeah? And I go, they're trying so hard to figure out who they are. With the weird things they're wearing and their hats, and you can tell how their mannerisms, they're thinking everything 10 steps ahead of,
yeah, man.
if I say this, is someone going to say something?
Yeah.
That relaxed feeling. You know, I'm mentally and emotionally, I'm a dad wearing New Balance. I'm just chill, and you can say whatever you want. I'm cool with me now. But I remembered what that felt like. Just be out with your peers and be so afraid.
Yeah, man.
But also at the same time trying to be unique in yourself and figure out who you are by what you wear and the things you say and what you do, while at the same time having those two conflicting emotions where I have to be different but also the same.
Right. That's part of growing up, and it's, you know, is that identity becomes less and less of a driver, I guess, of your main point of view. I guess, you know, like identity today is not as important as it was when I was in a band. When I was in a band, like I was in a band, you know, and when I was shooting dope, I was shooting dope. And when I'm a comic, I'm a comic. These things that just become like identities. Yeah. And I'm just tired of copying and pasting my personality onto these things. And I just, like you said, I just want to be the dad in New Balance who's like just chill with everything.
Yeah,
you know?
That's how I feel when I've been on dating apps, because so often, and I think New England is really bad for this, more than a lot of places I've been to, because I feel like a lot of people, especially when I go up to like Maine and New Hampshire, and they're just in a very normal, quiet, white town, and they're trying to figure out an identity. They feel that when they've gone so deep into the Americana and lost their old world identity of, you know, Irish, Italian, whatever, or there's not even the local town just has corporate stores. Yeah. So what makes my town and my experience different than some guy in Indiana? And they're trying to figure it out so much. And, you know, you go on a dating app and it's just a girl lists puts a list. I am, ACAB, BLM, that, or anarcho-syndicalist, socialist. Just there, it's literally a listing of
It really makes your dick hard, doesn't
sexualities, gender identities, politics, social movements, and sometimes 12 in a row. And I go, you're so desperate because I feel bad.
Yeah.
And immediately I swipe left. But I go, I'm passing. I'm not dealing with this. If I think there's a chance I get some kinky sex out of it, not anymore. But back then I would put up with it. But now I go, you just haven't gotten to the point where you're comfortable with you.
Yeah. I mean, anyone people can identify however they want, and I applaud that. Like if you're struggling with like who you are, like we're so lucky to live in a time where there's at least enough outlets, that to find your tribe.
Yeah.
I think it's easier now to find your tribe than it was when we were growing up.
It definitely is. Back in the day, you had to, or in the 70s, you had to hope that you saw a flyer somewhere.
Right.
Right? And you could go, I was playing Frisbee golf. I was playing frolf. I like frolf. I play frolf now, and I don't care what anyone says about it. That's how comfortable.
Frolf.
I like frolf.
I'll play
love
frolf
it,
with you.
dude. It's so fun.
All right.
You just walk through the woods. It's like golf, but you don't wear a goofy outfit.
Yeah.
It costs no money.
Yeah.
All right, $20 to buy 3 discs. You throw them. You don't take it too serious, and if you want, you go with your friends, you talk. It's a great outlet for guys to, how's the wife and kids? Yeah, how's work? And you talk, and you don't have to be getting fucked up. Sometimes people will smoke a joint as they go between holes, and it's just cool and chill. And you're outside instead of being in a pub.
Yeah.
And I remember as I get to one of the holes, someone put like a card, a business card underneath, and it said, Norse Club, come hang out and we'll talk about Vikings. And I go, I haven't seen something like that in so long. And I picked it up. My friends go, you didn't go to that fucking gay nerd thing? And I go, I just might. I like fucking Vikings, I can't hang out. But I remember going to college and I took a class on Norse mythology just for fun. And I showed up and everyone was a fat neckbeard. And I go, all right, I'm cool with this tribe. I'm cool. This wasn't what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
It wasn't me and some other dudes. Everyone was trying to out-nerd the other nerd. Everyone, I hate those environments because I nerd out on shit. My biggest gripe with nerds or geeks is that someone has to be the S. There has to be an alpha geek. Yeah. There has to be the geek who's swinging around his big geek fucking dick, and you say something wrong, I apologize. I forgot who Thor's father was for a second, and they want to humiliate you in front of the fucking squad.
Yeah.
It's the same. It's
the same thing.
It's that scene all over again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but I think the thing is when you step off the merry-go-round, you've stepped off. Mm-hmm. No one else.
Yeah.
Just you. So if you stepped off the merry-go-round and now you're judging the merry-go-round for being a merry-go-round, like, I don't know. Like, you can get off that ride and then just look at it and be like, oh, it's just a ride.
Yeah.
Like, that whole scene, right? The whole, like, out-nerding each other. It's just a ride.
Yeah.
And, like, if you take a step back, which is why I am a proponent of psychedelics for that reason, to get a different perspective. And if you're able to take a step back and look at that for what it is, it's just fucking kids trying to figure shit out. Like you said earlier, they're just kids trying to figure out who they are.
I'm glad you said that because I needed to hear that. And because what you just said about the ride, that's how I feel about the world and society sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially the system we live in as I stepped out of it.
Yeah.
I got out of the rat race.
Yeah.
In every possible way. And then I looked back in and I look at it and I go, and I don't want to be pedantic or holier than thou. I'm just like anyone else. But sometimes I would say stuff and my friends would be like, you fucking suck now. And I go, and I feel like there's an episode of South Park where Stan starts seeing the world as shit. right? And his friend's like, you want to go to the movies? And he goes to the movies, and it's like, the movie is, and now a duck for president? Quack! And the duck is shooting shit out of its mouth, and everything he sees is shit. And I go, I can't be that dude. I just have to accept the fact that the world is the way it is. Can I want to be better? Yes. Are there good people in it? Absolutely. Are there systems set up that are definitely evil or callous or fucked up? Yeah. So just, if I'm going to, I think I need to listen to myself. What I said about the social media thing is, if I want to do certain stuff on the merry-go-round, I got to dip into the merry-go-round sometimes. And then hop back out once I get a little too dizzy and go, all right, it's a ride. This America, whatever, the Western world, liberal democracy, capitalism, everything that comes with that, it is what it is.
Right.
I got to get in it and get out of it and acknowledge what I want out of it.
I'm here to tell you that it's okay to not have an opinion.
Yeah.
It's okay to not know where you stand, because that's what I'm coming out of all of this. Like, I went for 16 years in a program of living a very prescribed life and knowing where I stood, and then in my comedic, in the way that I would write comedy about drugs and about addiction, like, it was driven by my experience, and I had a point of view. Now I don't have a point of view. The mushrooms just shattered.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is, but it isn't.
It's weird.
It's weird because it's hard to write material because I don't know where I land on. I don't know what to think about Russia.
You can,
I don't know what to
what
think
if
about.
that's just what you say? What if that's the material right? Because I wrote a new bit, and it's about how I have ambiguous opinions on abortion. And that's one where you're not allowed to have ambiguous opinions.
Right.
And I've realized that in some situations I might be pro-choice. In some situations I might be pro-life, depending on what's happening to me in that moment. And it has a hard ride. I got to work on
that joke
it.
to a woman.
Yeah.
Because I like that premise, but I wonder as a dude if it's hard to like.
I found a way to make it work for me.
Did you?
I'm sure as a girl it would, because I have my own stake in it, just like she does.
Sure.
Obviously, as a guy, if I even bring it up, some people are gonna be like, "Are you even talking about this?"
Yeah.
But my thing is, I'm saying that I don't have my opinion can change.
Yeah.
And that I'm going about it in a somewhat lackadaisical way, and that everyone wants you to have we have a flag, right? We talked about scene. We're part of a scene.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed this a lot. When I went to Northern Ireland, and I remember watching this documentary about flag wars, and you go to Northern Ireland, and there's legit walls in the city in Belfast, keeping Catholics on one side and Protestants on another side, and you'll know when you're in a different neighborhood because of the flags. You walk into the Catholic side, the guys who want union with Ireland, Irish flags everywhere, every fucking thing. There's a flag on cars and poles and everywhere you go, the colors, all right, the green, white, and orange. And you go into the Protestant side, the guys that want to keep union with the United Kingdom, British flags, red, white, and blue, everywhere, Scottish flags, blue and white, everywhere. And I sometimes see that in the U.S. when I go into certain neighborhoods, rainbow flags and everything. Now there's a Ukrainian flag and everything. Yeah. Now there's that. This house stands with science. I go into another town. House stands with science. Yeah, there's like that you see in the suburbs. Another town, American flag here, American. Or here's my Trump sign. Here's my flag.
Yeah.
And it's people trying to find that thing that I have to have this opinion or this voice or be a part of this tribe.
Yeah,
when
we have that where I live too.
Yeah.
There's one house that says like refugees welcome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we're in Newton.
Yeah.
Like, go live on the border and put that sign up. Go move
it's very
to Poland
easy to put that up
and put that
Newton.
sign up.
Yeah.
I understand the outward. I'm sure that they would help if they could, but I'm not a huge fan of the term virtue signaling because I think that it's okay to do something nice and not. The person's doing something nice, right? And and for someone to be like, "Well, you're virtue signaling," like that's just a really complicated way of saying I'm doing something nice by putting that sign up. But at the same time, you're in Newton, bro.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's no refugees.
You're
around
making
here.
a statement for your own image.
Yeah. It's again, it's for that. It's for a like. It's for that dopamine hit. It's for the ego, and that's something that I have to. Like, how do you have to rely on ego to do comedy? So how do you rely on ego when you know that it's so dangerous? When it's like, I used to think ego was like a parachute. Like, it's really important to pack it away, right? And take great care to make sure that like you put it away. But one little tug, one little, hey, that was a great set, you know, then it's just fully deployed. And like you are that thing for however long until you float back down
That's
to earth.
That's a great
you know?
fucking analogy because it does work like that.
Yeah.
And ego does. As someone who's routinely killed my ego and watched it come back.
Yeah.
And then you kill it. It's like grass.
Okay.
You're mowing the lawn with your ego.
All right.
And it grows up
grows
again.
back, yeah.
And you
like
cut it
tail off
again.
a frog or something.
Yep.
Or
a lizard, a gecko.
Yeah, thank you.
And it goes down, it comes back, and you cut it down again. And I think I'm kind of with that, where every now and then I need to have an experience. It doesn't always have to be hallucinogenic, where my ego gets a good shock, and I catch myself.
Yeah.
If I catch myself, it happens to me with depression or anger, where it starts to build up again. I got to hit a release valve, and you got to go out. And the big thing for me was to realize it's okay for me to do that.
Yeah.
Because I would get in these spirals where I would go, I thought you were better. I thought we were through this. And then I have to go, oh, dude, I'm just a human. I'm not ever out of the woods. I just get the tools to deal with it when it shows up again.
Right.
It's like snow in the winter. It comes around, but at least now I know how to salt and shovel.
Right.
And then it comes back again. And you're all right, and you go, well, I live in Boston. I live in New England. Well, I live with a fucking human brain, and sometimes it fucks me up, and it makes me do weird things and think weird things and get jealous and angry and frustrated and depressed and happy and loving and all that shit.
It's funny how you never really like dive into or break apart what it's like to feel happy.
Yeah.
You're never like, God damn it, why am I so happy?
Yeah.
You know, like, this keeps happening. Like I wake up and I just have this zest, you know, and I want to go about my day. And like you never dissect feeling baseline. You only dissect like, oh, why am I, you know, I'm just heavy. Everything's heavy.
Yeah.
You know, when you, I guess you're not like, why isn't my leg broken? You know, like when your leg's not broken, but when your leg's broken, it's all you're going to talk about is your broken leg. So
I caught myself doing something, and this is how I started trying to cultivate my podcast and my social media, was I noticed that I, like many people, have a habit of being more willing to, if something's afflicting me, all right, if I'm dealing with something I don't like, misery loves company. It's the natural human response is I get this thing, negative darkness inside me, misery, whatever, uncomfortable feeling. I'm going to get it out, release, get it out. But it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes you just end up sounding like a whiny prick. And people around you go, you kind of fucking suck. What's up with Mike? You know?
Yeah.
And I have to catch that. And I said, don't let that be what you do online or where you stand up or any of this. I go, you have to do what's very difficult, which is the inverse. Because when I would have a good feeling, when I'm happy and I'm filled with love, I would hold it. I would fucking hold on to it with all my might, and you don't let go. But I have to accept it's gonna go. Just like summertime goes and wintertime comes, and so it'll come back. It will come back. And I would hold it, and I'd be afraid to give it out. I was so rapid. I gave out my negativity rapidly, and I didn't give out my positivity. And I go, this is what you're gonna do. You're going to hold on to that fucking dark shit because it's not everyone else's burden that you're going through some shit.
Right.
And if someone is willing to hear you in the right environment, talk about what you're going through. But that positive, that love, and that happy, that's the shit. Like, you know, you go, how you doing? And someone goes, well, my fucking cat died. And then before you know it, you go, oh, dude. Frank, now, oh my God. Now I try and be the guy where someone goes, how's it doing? I'm like, dude, it's sun is shining, and I noticed people just wanted to be around me more.
Yeah.
They wanted to listen to me more.
Yeah.
And I caught myself. And I go, all right, I got to do the inverse. And it's fucking tough. It's really difficult.
Have you ever tried to like decided to have a secret sponsor? Like like for instance, Ryan Reynolds is someone I decided that I should look up to.
Yeah.
I have no idea why, other than he seems to be really prolific in funny movies.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to be a funny guy, and I bet he doesn't do terrible things. So I decided after watching this movie with him, like, I'm going to be a little bit more like Ryan Reynolds, which I have no idea what that means. I have no idea.
I do that. I have someone.
Who is it?
It's his name is Daryl Cooper, and he has a history podcast called Modern Made, and I love it. It's my favorite podcast, and dude is so intelligent. And I go, oh shit! I listen to stuff he says, and I go, that's so profound. I'm just listening to him do a podcast where he's comparing Friedrich Nietzsche and Dostoevsky, and he's showing how they lived almost identical lives, but Nietzsche became kind of a miserable bitch boy, and just a the world sucks and fucking life is pain and bear. And then Dostoevsky went through that and then realized, oh, I've been a piece of shit gambling addict to my wife and my kids, and got it together. And he became more spiritual, religious guy and a better father. And
that's so funny.
It was, and I remember, and of course, like the Nietzsche fanboys came out and ripped into him so much. But I remember hearing Daryl talk about this, and I go, oh man, I want to be like Daryl. I want to be able to hold these monstrous, beautiful ideas in my head, and also just admire the work he puts in to what he's doing, and go, oh shit, man, I'm a genuine fan. Buy the because a lot of times I don't buy someone's products or subscribe to their stuff. I did.
Oh, did you? You actually bought?
Yeah, got a T-shirt and subscribed to behind a paywall, which I never do.
Wow.
Yeah, and because I go, you know what, I like this.
Yeah.
And I like what's being put out here, so I should support it.
Yeah, yeah.
And that I guess that ties into what we were talking about, that Dostoevsky thing, where you go, that kind of thing that we're dealing with now, we've always dealt with it. There's always been the guy who got, a tough life and couldn't get out of it.
Right.
And the guy who got a tough life too and fought his way out of it.
Right.
And I've seen, like, dealing with watching, addiction's big with me because I'm watching my father, die from it. And every now and then I'll see him and a voice in the back of my head goes, that's going to be you. And I go, and I have to go, shut up.
Yeah.
And a voice goes, that can be you. It might be you. And I go, and I have to, and I get mad that still happens. That little voice still shows up every now and then and goes, maybe that's going to be you one day, you miserable, lonely prick. And I go, no, it's not. And then I go, it's always going to be there. And I always have to go, no, I'm not going to be that.
Well, it's like we were talking about the first voice. It sounds like that's just, again, that asshole that shows up. He's just loud. He shows up to the party first. For whatever reason,
Yeah. I will say that as we wind down, the ayahuasca helped me with this, that it got me to listen to the right voice.
Okay.
So when the voices were coming in, it allowed me to realize the good one from my core, the one that was my gut, the one that said, put that out, put that online. Because I would try and put out content. I go, I'm going to take shit. Someone's going to say I'm this. I'm going to get called a hacks. I'm being purposely offensive. And that voice would go, is it funny? Mm-hmm. Do you like it? Does it make you laugh? And I go, yeah. And he goes, put it out. He got stronger.
Wow.
And that was the best thing I pulled away, was that voice just became stronger. And I realized just how to better listen to him. That intuition, whatever you want to call it.
It's funny. It's like, is it ego death or did you just lose confidence?
For
me, I'm wondering if, like, I've lost some confidence.
It was ego death. At first, I was way more confident.
Yeah.
Way insanely more confident. Dude, I walked into a hostel after I got out of the jungle. I am making friends. I'm walking up to the hottest fucking girls in this place and flirting with them. Yeah. It's not. I'm starting conversations with complete strangers. And it's the middle of the night, and I'm talking with the guy in the bunk bed above me, 50-year-old guy from New York who's discovering himself, and we're having these metaphysical conversations like you and I just had.
Yeah.
And I go, oh shit. And then I lost confidence in some respects when I came back, and I had to measure myself socioeconomically, like my finances and my job to what, when I walk by a restaurant that I'm like, oh, if I went in there, I would have, it would put me down for like a while,
Right.
financially. That putting myself back in a system where I got measured by that kind of fucked me up. And I think sometimes social media will do that because you see a guy who's got 8 million followers, and I go, here I am with 2,000 or 100.
Yeah.
And you go, you'll find them, and you don't need the 2 million. I think you could make TikToks just with your GTA. What you're talking about, you could do that with any one of these, and a niche, 20,000 followers who love what you do, is worth its weight in gold compared to 1 million followers who are lukewarm about what you do. But
that's a good point.
we got to wrap up, dude. This was fun.
Yeah,
I had a blast.
We should do a part 2 in a couple
We
months.
definitely should, man. And where can people follow you?
They can follow me on Facebook. If they just put in Google and search my name, Steve Halligan, you'll find my website, stevehalligan.com. It's SteveHalligan. I'm on Twitter. But I don't do a lot, Man,
but Twitter's dying. Fuck it. It is. It's a dead medium. They all come and they go.
But I get shows and they're on my website.
But you're in person, and that matters.
Yeah, I'm in person.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Let's see. This weekend I'm at Jim McHugh's new place
In
up
Portsmouth.
In Portsmouth.
Great room.
Is it? Okay.
Great room. Ton
Awesome.
of fun. Yeah.
And how's the parking? Because I know it's
Great. It's New Hampshire. It's the club is in a diner. It's in the back, but it's. I did a small crowd there.
Yeah.
And even they were fantastic.
All right.
Had
So
a
I'm
ton
doing
of
that
fun.
Friday night, and then
Yeah.
lots of laughs in Andover. I think the next weekend. But
We'll get you on the city doing showcases. Yeah, you're up for it.
yeah. All right. If you book them.
I know of one I can guarantee you get on.
All right. Yeah. I'll go. It's just I'm not putting myself out there yet.
You're not going to put yourself out there. You'll send a text. He'll say yes.
Okay.
And it won't be the best thing, but it's you get to hang out with some comics again. It's you work out your stuff.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
good.
Cool, man.
All right, dude. Well, thanks for coming on, dude.
Thank you.
Thank
Always
you,
a
man.
pleasure, bro.
Absolutely.